Hi.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Oh, totally. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into it, can you tell us your name and what you're excited about or what you do?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
My name's Bill McRight, and I make art and do Reiki on animals and people, but mostly animals. And I live with 2 cats and my partner. And I don't know, I'm into riding my bicycle a little bit.
Cool.
Just trying to like focus on the good things and not get swept up in the shittiness of everything.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, I guess I think I met you through Laura Ellis.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And you also have done a session with my real good friend Marcella Kroll, and her is a bearded dragon, a lord. And I guess I'll just, for the sake of the podcast, people that don't know, is that I sought your assistance in helping my dog, Tommy, because she got attacked, and you did a session with her. And I guess I had no idea anything about what that meant. Could you, but now I do, and I want everyone else to know what you do, if that's okay, if it's
yeah, totally. Well, I studied Reiki with Laura, and
oh, cool.
did actually her apprenticeship program, which was like 2 years. The first year was Reiki 1 and 2, and a pretty in-depth study of like crystals and their properties. And then the second year was getting master level Reiki certification, and even more in depth with like energy work and crystals and that kind of stuff. And the second year kind of was at the beginning of the pandemic.
Okay.
And like, I've always like been interested in doing the distance work anyway, but had a hard time finding good surrogates. So I started like just carving my own. And Laura uses one in her like distance sessions, and a lot of other people, like I've given some to friends, and a lot of people have bought them.
What's that word mean?
Surrogate is kind of like a replacement for the client in a distance session. So the board that I have has the outline of a human being with the chakra layout.
Okay.
And it's just kind of something for me to focus the energy into when I'm sending it to them. So it's like gives me places to like attend to the crown chakra and the third eye and the throat and so on. And I mean, I think that kind of came from my making art, but
right,
like what I really do is just like lay out crystals on the chakras, whether it's a human or an animal, and kind of consult with them and with their guides. And I've taken some communication classes with Animal Michael Lane as well.
Cool.
And Marcella had a class with him and like talked to Lord afterwards, and Lord actually requested a session with me.
That's awesome.
And then when I had a reading from Marcella recently, Lord like volunteered to help me with stuff in my practice, which is pretty rad.
That's so cool.
But I've had a few like clients like kind of attached to me after working on them. Like there's a cat that I worked on while he was in the process of transitioning. And it was like making him comfortable for a long time. And the first time I worked on him, his human companion had put out like rose quartz for him.
Yeah.
And he actually like wrapped his paws around it and was like nuzzling it while I worked on him. I've gotten a lot of videos and pictures of animals like while I'm working on them, and it always is like super heartwarming. And like I worked on one friend's dog, and their mom like had the dog lay on top of her, and she's like I'm gonna steal some of the Reiki.
Whoa.
But I've had like amazing stuff happen. Like I had a friend call me because his son's like best friend's family had gotten a puppy and it got parvo, and that's like a
Oh, no.
80-90% mortality rate. And he was like, can you send Reiki? This dog's at the vet right now. And I was like, yeah, I'll do what I can. And
Yeah.
he like, I met the dog like probably 6-8 months ago, and it's totally healthy and happy and like good.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure the vets did some work too, but I've had a few things where it's been like, I worked on one Chihuahua and it had congestive heart failure, and after a session, it didn't have the symptoms of it anymore.
That's so cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like after I wouldn't have completely understood or completely believed any of the stuff before I had gone to Laura. I just didn't understand how you could. I didn't go remotely, but I didn't before I saw her understand how it could be remote. But after
Yeah.
going there, I know that it doesn't matter where you are. When someone's a healer, they know there's no such thing as here and there's no such thing as there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd also like give credit to the Reiki because it knows where it needs to go.
Right, totally. But that's not, yeah, exactly. So it's not like a matter of, I think people might not understand how Reiki works, or I don't, I guess, yeah. Can you explain Reiki?
So it's also like, I mean, you could call it universal life force or prana or whatever, like sounds good. But basically like someone who's a Reiki practitioner opens themselves up to it, and it comes in through your crown chakra and through your feet, and like goes into your heart and then comes out your hands. And you know, I grew up like in punk rock, and like if you'd asked me about any of this when I was like 14 to 30, I probably would have been like, this fucking hippie shit, man.
Yeah.
And like I guess I like got into it because of like I had gotten super depressed and I was in a job that was like crushing my soul, and I just didn't see any way out of it.
Yeah.
And had like falling out with family member, and I was just like slipping into like deeper and deeper depression, and like going to therapy and working on shit, but like there's just like kind of lingering darkness. And I had my friend Lucian suggested I go see Laura, and she like, I didn't know what the fuck I was getting into at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and like she laid out stones on me and ran Reiki on me and made notes about like everything for me. And it was just like the stuff she was telling me was very spot on, like, and explained a lot of the problems I was having. And I feel like after that, I had a little bit more clarity and was able to like do the homework. And
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing that like people may not understand getting into like working with the healer, because it's not really the healer healing anybody, it's the healer's helping you heal yourself.
Yeah, which
That's
is
how I look
crazy.
at it.
Yeah, I did not know I was gonna have to do like an hour and a half of stuff every day. Like,
Oh yeah.
I was not aware of that. I thought it
it's
definitely
so good though.
Yeah, no, I think Reiki, I think what physically happened there, what she said, and what I think you did too, or what you do too, is that session, if you think of it as like a massage, where it will like clean you and keep you good for like a week or so, and then it's your turn to like keep it up. And I was just like, it's amazing. I was like, oh, I'm fixed, that's it, like I get it, like emotion, just let it run through you, energy runs through you, stop bottling it up. But like it's so weird that I think I noticed today that strong emotions you either get out or you bury. That's like, I didn't really realize that until today, because I was like, yeah, before this I was like in a really negative mood, and I don't perpetuate negativity. I don't because I
Yeah.
it doesn't but I was like looking at Twitter and stuff, and I saw all these other people complaining, and I was like, I want to go on there and be mad, but I was like, that's not my way. But my way then is to keep it inside and like sulk or whatever. And I was like, no, that's the old way. And she taught me that like I have to get it out, but not like, but in a way, that is helpful, which is like all the different things. And it's amazing, like, what my guides are just like, we've been telling you what to do, like, hello. And everything she said to do, I was like, oh yeah, like
it's really funny. Like, it's a good kick in the pants to start paying attention. I think I've always felt like after I've gotten Reiki or got like when I got attuned like to each level, like my vision gets sharper. Like I've got shitty vision anyway, but like it always feels like everything's a little bit brighter and more clear, and not like a physical way, but like a energetic way, I guess.
Yeah, no, I find it. Yeah.
And I think like when you get that stuff, it breaks up the blockages that you have and like the energy that you've been holding on to, because I have so many physical ailments that are not like terrible, but like during the pandemic, I got a boil behind my ear, and it was like because I was hanging on to anger.
Yeah.
And I like perpetually get a knot in this shoulder, and it's cords and resentment and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
But
totally.
like I hadn't gone and gotten any body work done for like basically 2 years with the pandemic, and just kind of feeling safe exposing others to me and myself to others.
Yeah.
And I got in touch with my body work lady, and she was like, are you vaxxed? And I was like, yes. She's like, okay, you don't have to wear a mask, cool science. And like but I went to her, and like we hadn't seen each other in seriously 2 years at that point, and she like looked at me when I walked in and was like, you look so good, like you're like grounded, you're happy, like I can't believe how much of a difference it is. And I was like, oh, I've been working really hard and like quit the job that made me miserable, and like I'm not suffering fools anymore.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's amazing. Well, congratulations for all of it, because I think it's so much. I think the main thing it always comes down to is that it's so much more comfortable to stay in the rut than go. Being uncomfortable is okay. I think we're just not really taught that. We're taught that that's like almost the worst thing in the world is to feel discomfort. But
I think we're discouraged a lot from, like, my memories as a child is like hanging out by myself in little like woods and stuff like that, and meeting turtles and like hanging out and probably having conversations with them like telepathically, because that's how animals talk to you. And like there were times like where I like the day before like 9/11, I was like sitting up and couldn't sleep, and I was just like, man, we are pissing off so many people, like something bad is going to happen. And it's not like I was like an airplane's going to fly into
I know
7 or whatever, but like it was just like a kind of big feeling, and it's just like being tapped in. And one of my gifts, it's a gift, is Clairsentience. So I actually experience what other people feel, like emotionally and physically sometimes. Like my mom had hip surgery, and my hip hurt that day.
Oh no.
And it's just like,
it's so
sometimes it's good and sometimes it sucks.
No, that's the
but it's learning to use it.
I think it's I think I wasn't aware that being like becoming more sensitive meant becoming more sensitive, and I just didn't. I thought it meant something different. But I guess something that I thought was really, really interesting, and I know you have so many clients, you might not remember what happened with Tommy. Just like I didn't know that you guys go somewhere. Can you explain that, like that process of what you do in a
Yeah.
session like that?
Yeah, I mean, for what happens with me is like when I'm going to communicate with the animal, I have a whole process that I envision, which like I learned from that guy Michael. And it's basically like you visualize yourself in like your perfect nature setting, and you go down some stairs like in a tree trunk or a hole in the ground or whatever, and you go to a room, and like there's a big door in front of you and it opens up, and you like, I always ask for a picture of the animal's eyes so I can like connect there. And I envision the animal and then envision like a pink beam of light going from each of our hearts to each other. And then like, and that's where I do like work on a living client that's like there and like I can easily talk to. But then there's another, like there's other branches to this underground layer, so that if I need to contact an animal that's passed over, I've got a gopher guide that takes me to meet them and is kind of like a little bit of an interloper.
Yeah, can you talk about the Gopher guide and how you met?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty funny because it was going like, we did a couple meditations, like learning to go into the different parts. And one of them was like, so I go past the room where the door is, where I meet the living clients. And I go down like this tunnel that's basically just like a big, long, like subway tunnel or something. And get to like a crossroads at it. And that's, I like was told to wait there and my guide would show up. And it was this gopher that's kind of Chris Tuckery, like
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
swag and is kind of sarcastic, but is
That's
also
so
like
funny. Yeah.
super cute.
Yeah. Is it like a actual, I mean, in my mind, I can only imagine a cartoon gopher, but I guess it's a real gopher,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's a real gopher with
Okay.
like, it can have more like human qualities if it wants
Yeah,
to,
right.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it looks like a hamster basically. And
Yeah, I don't know why. I was just like, trying to picture,
I mean,
not,
I have a joy guide that I like met one time, and I drew a picture of it and sent it to Laura, and it's basically like a crab, but it has a hamburger for a body. So it's
that's
like a
so
hamburger
funny.
with crab claws and legs and eyes.
Oh,
And I was like,
that's,
Laura, is this a guide or what? And she's like,
yeah.
that's a joy guide for sure.
Yeah.
And like that makes a lot of sense for it to be that absurd, and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you kind of look
totally.
at it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can smile now.
Yeah, 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 totally. She told me I have a like a Hopi joy guide, which I could feel like, could that just is such a weird thing for someone to tell you. If yeah, your joy guide, it's like, oh my god, you're the
Yeah.
one like with those ideas when it's like things could turn one way and then all of a sudden they in my mind it turns another, and I'm like, that's not me, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's you, that your
Yeah.
joy
Yeah.
guide, what's up
Yeah,
with that?
totally.
That's so cool. I love that though. A hamburger, so weird.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, I wonder what that means, like
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably like pop culture and like the
right.
animals like combining each other.
Well, is it just that they're like, because this is all about, we only have the references we have. So is
Right.
it that the guide was like, oh, he'll relate to this hamburger that looks, which is just so funny that they have a sense of humor and they're funny. Like,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
and it's just such a bizarre like kink or twist in the system that's just like, yeah, it's not like, I don't know. It's just that's for you. That's kind of like my
Yeah.
belief about like UFOs and stuff, is that that's just how we perceive them. It's not like,
Yeah, I think it's like our minds explaining what we can't really
yeah,
comprehend. It's like organized religions.
Yeah, that's my favorite though. I love that, a hamburger. That's so like that's
Yeah,
so cute. Do you have that picture still?
probably in a notebook.
Yeah. You're also like a super amazing artist.
Thank you.
I just wanted to tell you I love your art. It's so cool. But yeah, so you have a Gopher guide, and
Mhm.
do they communicate with, like, how do they guide you, I guess?
I mean, they take me to the place where the animals that have passed over are,
Okay.
and I mean, I think having like another more animal form being kind of escorting me makes it a little more comfortable. If if you haven't seen a person in 50 years or something like that, like you're probably maybe a little shocked too.
Yeah, totally. No, for sure. And yeah, and so you said that, I mean, one thing, when you meet up with your client, do you communicate like telepathically?
Yeah.
And this is the question I've been wanting to ask you for this whole time, is like, okay, this might, I hope I can make this make sense, but it's like you met with my doggy,
Right.
who was, you guys met up, and like you met the dog's like spirit self.
Yeah, or higher self, like
Right. And so it,
whatever it is that we can all not
right.
physically communicate with.
But like how I don't always know that things are my guides, or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, does she know? Cause like I've talked to her since about like Bill and stuff like that. And it's like she knows of that event, but I just wonder, is she in communication with her higher self? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think animals are like way more in touch than we are with.
Okay.
So I like just started reading this book that I went to buy like a philosophy book um with very like political slant to it, and they did not have it, and I just saw this book and it was like Cats and the Meaning of Life, the philosophy of cats. And it's this dude like seriously talking about his philosophy and other philosophers, like, and how it relates to cats, and how cats, basically how we think we're like all superior to everything because we have thoughts and can use tools.
Yeah.
But like cats don't really worry, animals don't really worry. A lot of the like stress related stuff they pick up from us.
Yeah.
Like they're not worried about who's president or like how much money is in their account, because they don't fuck, that's all unnecessary shit for us.
Yeah,
But
totally.
we give it all this importance, and like animals are just kind of like, can I find something to eat? Is
Yeah.
somebody cleaning my poop if I live in their house? Like
Yeah. Do you,
it's simple, and like love is probably one of the biggest important things for animals.
right. Right, totally. Well, I think, I mean, we're all animals are animals,
Yeah,
plants are plants, like stars are stars, and it's like all animals just need the same things. We've just made it way overcomplicated
yeah.
because I think that evolution, and I think it's cool in a way. It's horrible in many ways, but it's also cool that we get to do this, and I get to see your art,
Yeah.
and never maybe meet your body. But but I guess like um one question, since you can communicate with these guys, is I've been lately feeling like I feel like cats, just like cats are one thing. I think cats are like extraterrestrial. I don't
Yeah,
think that
totally,
they're
totally.
earth beings.
Them and
But
octopus,
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
they're not
Yeah.
earth beings. I think dogs are earth fucking beings. Like they are meant to be here. We're meant to be friends. But I noticed that and maybe I'm just perceiving this wrong, but it seems like they think everything is completely random. Like, and I don't know if this is true, but here's what I mean. It's like well, every day we go on a walk, go on a
Mhm.
long walk, the same thing. And then we go like do this stuff. And then we get home and she's like, like she knows how to like look cute, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
she has like this face she makes and she'll pretend to shake, and if I don't look, she'll stop. Then if I look at her, she'll pretend to shake to get the treat. And it's like
Yeah.
every day you get the treat. It's not random. It's not like, I think she thinks she has to like look cute, or like when it's dinner time, it's always dinner time. It's not, there's never been a day where I've been like, you're not getting
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Like, does she think it's random, or are they just cute? You know?
I mean, I think that there's some manipulation going on there, because like my cat's totally like my cat Lulu, who's like just over 2, and like she doesn't care about food at all.
Okay.
And then my wife's cat Charlie, who's like 13ish,
Yeah.
like he has like a harness and a leash that he's allowed to go outside on, and he always goes to the door and asks to go outside, and it is like clockwork when it's dinner time, like, Dad, fix my shit.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think it's sort of being cute, and it's sort of like, I'm gonna remind you just to make sure you don't forget to give me the thing that I want.
Okay, that's fair. Because I was just like, what a strange way to live a life, is just being like, man, if I don't like do this thing, like I might not get dinner. Because I'm just like, I mean, we have a funny relationship where we're like exactly the same and exactly the opposite. And it's just, but it is, yeah, I was just wondering, because I was like, if you think everything's random, that's a weird way to be, because I have instilled in you these things that we do every day, like
Right.
clockwork, literally. And it would be a shame if you were a little, because she seems a little worried, and it's like, you don't have to be ever worried, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a little performance. Yeah.
Okay. That's funny. That's
And
funny.
I mean, I think like that's what I see in a lot of like animal companions, like just like we have our own quirks, like they've got theirs for sure. Oh,
Oh, sorry, there's
Oh,
like a leaf blower right now.
right on.
Yeah, maybe just wait a second.
I'm surprised I haven't had an ice cream truck yet.
Oh yeah. What song do they play on your ice cream truck?
There's seriously like 4 that go down my street
Okay.
at different times of the day, and they all have different songs.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Yeah.
Variety. So exciting.
It's great. Like I actually just recently had one of the ice cream truck drivers start only charging me $1 for stuff he had been charging me $2 for, and I was like, I think I'm accepted into the neighborhood a little bit more
congratulations.
now.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That's a huge one. Hold on. Let me just try and fix. I feel like it's not that big of a deal. I think content is more important than quality. But so can you talk about, like, I know you talked about like doing Reiki and stuff like that, but can you talk about how you were led to animals, I guess?
In like the second time I had Laura work on me, she was like, you had a past life as like an animal communicator, and I don't remember what like indigenous group it was with, and I don't want to guess, but she was like, I think you should like look at pictures of this area and try and reconnect with that. And like that seriously made me start remembering like being a kid and hanging out with animals that I just like ran across in the woods. And I would also like find injured animals around my house and like try to nurse them back to health.
Where are you from?
Originally right outside Atlanta, Decatur,
Oh,
Georgia.
cool. Okay, I was just wondering what kind of animals we're talking about. Okay.
I found a bat one time when I was a little kid. Yeah.
That's cool. I love
And it
bats.
was definitely like not doing well, and I tried to feed it and stuff, and it passed away. And like
That's
I went and I had a few, like both my parents are Presbyterian ministers or are.
Okay.
And like, I remember my dad always going with me when I was burying animals, and like I had
That's
hermit
cute.
crabs that like came out of their shells, shed their exoskeletons, and went back into their shells. But I was just like, oh, there's just pieces of crabs now. Like they died, and we hadn't like done anything with terrarium. But I like took the shells and like made a little box for them, and we buried them. And like I remember saying
That's
like
sweet.
a prayer for them, and my dad like just breaking down crying.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's a cute memory.
And like they had a Siamese cat when I was a baby that would like sleep as close to me as it could. And then if I got up at night, it would go like pat my mom on the face. And if that didn't get her up fast enough, it would like nip her wrists.
So you're an animal
I'm
person.
super, yeah.
Okay.
I like really do love them a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like anything else. Like some people are runners, some people are professional, like what's it called when you eat as much hot dogs as like everyone has their
Yeah,
thing.
totally.
What is food eating competition? What are those people called?
Competitive eaters.
Yeah, competitive eaters. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
yeah. But that's so cool. I mean, me just becoming more like sensitive. I'm noticing the animals that like and dislike me, but I'm a very like dog person. Just like I'm just a when I see a dog, I react the same way a dog reacts. Like I'm just like, oh my god, hi,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
are you? What's up? And like I'll tolerate cats. Like I love them, but it's just like we're just like, I'm a
We don't
dog.
vibe the same.
Yeah, like they'll come up and I'll be like, hi, and I'll pet them. But ever since I went to Laura, which is my only experience of going anywhere, so I'm not like, it's just it's my mind is, I'm totally different now. But it's like animals are like my buds now, and it's so weird. And like the geese, we go on a walk at the lake every day, and the geese like used to mess with us, but now I just like hold my finger and they walk away. It's like all this weird stuff. And like hawks like kind of walk up sometimes, and I like dream of them. And like, yeah, it's just I'm not not a super animal person, but I like that's always something I wished, like
I mean, I think once you like start figuring that stuff out, you get more like comfortable with it, and it'll flow a lot easier too.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm like yeah, I love them. I love them so much. But yeah, it's funny because she also saying that you should look into that. She was like, oh, you've been a channeler a lot and in like my past lives. And I think that having clarity on that made it so that I realize I'm just used to doing that. Like part of me is so used to just like taking information for other people. And it was like, once she said that, I was like, I don't have to do that shit. Like, and I was like, oh my God, so many of the things that had happened before aren't necessary anymore. And I didn't even know I was like allowed to just be like, cause like, yeah, I play music. So on stage, like I want to learn Reiki because it's like I channel a certain energy that I don't know what it is. And like in an audience setting can like do stuff with energy in that way. But the idea that like she's like, oh, you'd been a medium and stuff, I was like, yeah, like I'm doing channeling and shit I don't want to do all the time. I'm taking on other people's feelings all the time, and this is just some past life shit. This isn't even me. Like what the hairy heck. But do you think that like we have like multiple like we have multiple animals that are connected to us?
Oh yeah.
And because I was wondering, my friends who I contacted you about, who we named our record after our studio dog, Darkness, and like she died like a year ago, a couple days ago, and I was just like, she's always gonna be there with him, even if he gets a new dog, right?
Yeah, totally. So Here's a crazy animal story.
Yeah, please. Let's.
As I was like getting attuned to level 1 Reiki, my old cat Phil Collins fam, who's a
His
big
name?
fat, huh?
Phil Collins fan?
No, Phil Collins fam, because my wife's last name is Pham, Pham.
Oh, and that's his name?
Yeah, we met like right before I moved to LA, like seriously 3 weeks before,
The
and
cat
I
or
went
your wife?
my wife,
Oh, okay, sorry.
and she had just gotten this cat
Yeah.
from her friends that were moving to Australia, and he was FIV positive,
Oh.
and like that would make him like quarantine forever.
Oh.
And I think it's still like a 6-month quarantine, even if the animal's in perfect health, and you're gonna get a very traumatized animal after that.
Oh,
So she
God.
was like, I'll take them in, because she researched them having FIV, and like the chances of it getting past are very slim unless they're fighting. And like he passed like right before I got attuned to Reiki. And it was like heartbreaking for me, because he was just like my dude, like had gotten me through depression.
Yeah.
Like when my wife moved out here, she brought him and her cat Charlie, and Charlie was super bonded to my wife because he had been since a kitten. And Phil just kind of was like, "Oh, we're friends now," and like would sit on me, like get on my chest and just like headbutt me and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I waited probably a year at least after he passed away to like consider bringing
Yeah.
a new animal into my life. And we went to visit the shelter that's close to our house, and this little like calico kitten is in his cage by herself and just starts like screaming at us basically and sticking her paws out. And I like looked at my wife and I was like, we didn't come to get a pet, we were just gonna look, but this cat's not available for a week, so can we talk about it? And she's like, we can get this cat when it's
That's awesome.
available. And so I went and like picked her up and took her to get fixed, and they tested like after, I guess when she got fixed, they tested her for FIB, and it was like a positive test. And they're like, this could be her mother's antibodies still, like
Oh, wow.
get her retested at your vet in like 3 months.
Okay.
And we took her, and she was like definitely positive for FIV.
Okay. Is that something I'm sorry, that you're supposed to get vaccinated against?
No, it's a
just happens?
feline. It's like, I don't think there's a vaccination for it.
Okay.
It's basically like HIV, except it's for cats.
Okay, I was just wondering if there's like as a PSA for
No,
any
no,
listeners.
it's
Okay.
no, it's just like it's a thing to take into consideration if you have another cat and you want to
Okay,
adopt
I
a cat
see.
that has it.
Okay.
But seriously, unless they're like biting each other and drawing blood, they're not like
Okay.
you're not going to get it sharing food, or it's just like how HIV and AIDS are misunderstood by a lot of people. So is this, and
Yeah.
because I've heard, like, I've seen people advertise cats as being up for adoption, but they have FIV, so no other cats. And I'm like, that's totally not true. Like,
Yeah.
don't spread that fallacy. Like, just
Okay, let's stop
educate
that
yourself.
fallacy right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I mean,
never.
it's when the vets like told me that she was definitely positive, I was like, okay, my last cat lived till he's 19, and he had it. Like,
Yeah.
this is fine.
Yeah. Well, it's
You're
your
not worried. I was
friend.
like, I do Reiki on animals, and
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
she's not going to be an outdoor cat. It
Yeah.
just means that I like keep her on me if we go outside.
That's good to know. Thank you for.
Yeah.
Like, I really did not know that, and I hope that somebody learned something from that. But
I hope
so,
so.
but so she's still, like, you said that did she help you find the cat that passed? I just remember you said.
Well, no, it's like my new cat is almost like my cat that passed is one of my Reiki guides. He showed up when I got attuned to Reiki 1.
Okay.
And like Laura was like, I was waiting for him to show up for you.
Yeah. Oh,
And
right.
like,
It was a boy. I'm sorry.
yeah. But then like Lulu, who's my new cat, who's the girl, like has so much of Phil's personality,
Right.
like things in common, like having FIB and like white feet. But like
Aw.
if you mess with her and she doesn't want you to like be doing that, she'll take her paw and like push your hand down, which
Right.
is exactly what Phil would do.
Yeah. That's
And like,
what I guess is like, do you think that there's like your soul has a connection to many animals, or it's just
yeah,
like
and I
your
mean,
main guy or gal?
I think there's many
Okay.
animals. I also think that they're like probably train each other.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
so cute.
I don't that's the thing, is I'm not sure if it's like reincarnation, because it seems like it would be like a redundancy to have to go through the same form again, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Like I think being a house cat's probably like a pretty luxurious level of
Yeah, you
enlightenment.
don't get that shit twice in a row. Well, yeah, I mean, I just think like if you think of different like gods or whatever that have their
Yeah.
like right hand tiger or whatever.
Oh yeah. I
It's
mean,
like,
I've when I got my first reading from Laura, she was like, "You feel lonely. You've got 17 guides around you right now, and more are on their way. Like you
yeah,
can cut that out." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, cool."
yeah.
And it was
Oh,
really
wow.
like it helped me out a lot. And then I've been able just to start meeting them on my own more. And with animals, it's like they show up when they're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Hawks are really big for me, and I think my
Oh,
dad's starting
cool.
to use that. Like my dad passed a little over a month ago.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. He had Parkinson's. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's for like 16 years.
Oh my God, I'm so
And
sorry. That's so
it
recent.
was it was, it's super sad, but it was also I having that be a factor in it. I was able to mourn ahead of time some, and also to like I got to go see my dad a few months before he passed, and I thought the dude would be alive for at least another 5 years. And he was
Yeah.
like so happy and full of life and like loving his wife and like
Aw.
just playful, and like he was having like memory problems and like I think like dementia episodes, but it wasn't like the focus of anything.
Right.
And then when he got pretty bad like right at the end with dementia, and also like just his body started shutting down. But it was after he had to go into like he wasn't living with his wife anymore. He was
Right.
like by himself in like the medical care stuff. And I think
Right.
he's like, well, if this is the situation, I'm good.
Totally.
And like when I went to see him, we rented a house, like an Airbnb on a lake, and I was seeing
Cool.
hawks a lot there. And one day there was a hawk circling doing a distress call. And I was just like, that's weird. Like, and that sound like only red-tailed hawks make. And there's tons of red tails that live by my house as well.
Yeah.
And so like in retrospect, I'm like, I think that was a sign. And like the
Yeah.
day that I got like when my stepmom called me and told me that my dad had passed, I like just was like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go for a walk, and saw a couple red tails. And then the other day I woke up and I had heard like the call, like the beginning of the like Daily Show or whatever, that sound like the bald eagle noise that's really red-tailed hawks.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's totally
That's
that's like my
funny.
favorite thing about him, is that that sound is like a red-tailed hawk and not an eagle.
Yeah.
But I live a couple doors away from the Church of the Epiphany, which is like where Cesar Chavez went to church, and they
Oh, cool.
published La Raza out of the basement there, and like
Cool.
had illegal Spanish meetings when it was illegal to speak
That's
Spanish
so
in LA.
cool.
It's fucking
Whoa.
awesome. Like I
Yeah.
feel really good being that close to like a revolutionary place.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that like specifically, I think about that and living in Los Angeles, like
Yeah.
where are you? What happened here? And that's like one of the coolest things that happened here.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And so like I can walk out my back door and see the steeple, which has like a golden cross on it. And I walked out back and I'd taken Charlie out and put him on his leash. And
Yeah.
then Lulu started knocking shit over inside the house. So I ran back in. And when I came out, Charlie was off of his leash. And I looked up at the cross and there was a red tail sitting on top of the
Wow.
cross. And I was just like, all right, that's definitely from my dad. And
Yeah.
like a few other birds showed up. And when we were doing like our attunement to Reiki 1, all of the other people in the furnace class that I was in were like very jealous because like tons of birds and animals showed up for me. And one of my classmates came back and was like, yeah, I was telling some of my coworkers, and I was like, there's this guy that's like Snow White.
Yeah. That's
And
so
I mean, there's animals that show up at specific times.
yeah.
And I'm not always like, oh, you're this is why. But a lot of times I'm like, oh yeah, you're
No,
reminding me to like fucking take a leap.
you
Like when a
are.
grasshopper shows up. And I've had grasshoppers with like one leg missing show up, and I'm like, oh, you're still fucked up, but you're still jumping. So all right.
I mean, that's what you are. It's so, what a wonderful thing to be too, like,
Yeah.
I think every kid kind of dreams of being like, and like not every kid, but almost every kid wants to be like a marine biologist or work at the zoo or
Yeah.
like a veterinarian, and like that you're that person, you're like good with animals. And I took Tommy to the vet yesterday, and the one of the nurses, like you could just tell, like when she came out, I was like, you're an animal person. Not everyone there is, some of them are
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
people, but this lady had like, you could see her whole like energy field, just this pure, like just pureness, just pure,
Hmm.
like loving, calm energy. And like the dog doesn't like to be touched by other people, and she just like went gladly into her arms. And I was like, wow, you're amazing. Like it's just such a cool thing to be, like
Yeah, it's really awesome when they know. Like I had somebody come to pick up some stuff from my house, and his dog was in the back seat, and it unrolled the window, like it stepped on the
yeah,
window
yeah.
down thing, and I just reached up and like pet it, and he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, what's up, dude? It's fine. And he's like, no, he doesn't like guys. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he might bite you. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're good. Like
Yeah, yeah.
he's not freaked out by me.
That's
But
so cool.
I had friends also that like had this dog that was kind of abused before they got it, and it didn't like guys with beards or with baseball hats.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
like often wear a baseball hat. And the
Yeah.
first time I met their dog, it was like not about it. It barked
Yeah,
at
yeah,
me, and
yeah.
like they had to put it in the cage, and like
That just
probably
like people. I mean,
yeah. And
someone's
then like the
abused.
next time
Yeah.
that dog, about an hour into the visit, was like, all right, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
growl at
yeah.
you anymore. Like you're all right. And now when we see each other, the dog will jump off the ground into my arms. Like,
Aw,
and
that's
if I
so
sit down,
sweet.
will be on top of me. And it's like, it's great just having like animals have that kind of response to you.
Yeah, that's
And
the
it's like I
goal
look
of
back when I wasn't in touch with this shit,
yeah.
and it still happened. I just was like, oh, animals like me.
Yeah, yeah.
Girls don't.
Yeah, no, totally. That's so funny. Can you I'm sorry to uh, I don't know too much about it, but do you mind explaining a little bit about crystals and how, like, I guess how they work?
Yeah,
If that's
sure.
okay. Sorry, I'm just like, I kind of know like which ones I gravitate towards, and I have like a grid for Tommy, and I have a grid for our house,
Yeah.
um, based on no knowledge of anything. But I guess I'm just like, what I mean, I know everything on Earth is different, obviously, like,
Yeah.
but what are crystals and why? And
Um,
if you don't mind.
yeah, totally. I mean, that's also something like as a kid I was like, oh, these are rad, but
Yeah.
not in any like, I guess I probably saw there was some magic in them, but not like consciously being like, these can help me figure stuff out. And I would say I have a pretty good amount of knowledge from Laura and from my own reading.
Yeah.
And you can definitely like, you can find some conflicting things about crystals out there if you're doing the reading. And I like what I suggest to people is the ones that they're most drawn to be the first things that they start to work with.
But is it a property of the stone or a crystal or what?
Yeah, so you
Sorry.
can, they all, I mean, they all have different properties. And that's kind of like, I would say that's something I would recommend people research more than like I try to give them a brief overview right now.
Okay.
But like, for example, quartz is a very common and probably like everybody is familiar with it in one form or another. It's used in like technology, watches, clocks, like our computers. And it's one of the most programmable of crystals. Like just a clear quartz, you can basically ask it to do stuff for you, like help you work on a problem or help you connect to a guide. And you can clear it and reset it and do something else with it if you want to. But each stone has like its specific vibrations, like energetic
Okay.
vibrations.
So I'm sorry. So like, just I don't know anything, but like when I set up the grid, I
Yeah.
asked. I didn't have like the fourth stone I wanted, so I asked the quartz. I was like, "Will you pretend to be the stone?"
Yeah.
And like, what did I really ask? Like, it's a vibration that they each have.
Yeah, I mean,
What makes them different, I guess. And
well, I mean, that's like what makes each person or each
okay,
animal
sorry.
different. Kind of. It's all, no, it's all good. It's like where it's from, geographically, how it was made. Like, so quartz crystals build from like a feed solution coming into this thing, and it crystallizes. Kind of like how when salt water evaporates and a salt crust is left. But then there's like impact glass, which is from, it's a bunch of different kinds of crystal, but it's from a meteorite smashing into the earth.
Cool.
And you get like tektites, moldavite, Libyan desert glass,
Yeah.
saphirite, there's a few more.
So
And that's
so,
from like the reaction of something from outer space hitting our planet, and like all the heat melts the sand as it flies away.
but is the object symbolic, or does it have an energy? Or
It definitely has an energy to
okay,
it.
so it's an
Yeah.
energy, because when you like hold different ones, it's like, and
Oh yeah,
some of them it's like nothing. So it's
yeah.
okay. So
And I think that's one thing. Like I can do readings for people, and like Laura does it too, and we do crystal prescriptions and that kind of thing.
yeah.
Which is like, it's great. And if I do them for somebody, I'm like, go read about all of these before you go buy
Yeah.
any of them.
Yeah.
And like go towards the ones that you're like, this really sounds like I could use it right now.
Yeah.
Because I think like relying on your own intuition is probably even more important than relying on anybody else's.
Right. No, totally. I had like, I was sick for like 5 months last year. I can pronounce 2 years. And she told me to get this, I think it's like peach selenite, and like put it near my stomach. And it's like, I don't even know. It's like taking like Vicodin or something. It works like I mean, faster than, better than, it just works immediately. And like, I've never, nothing like that. And it works every night. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And then I just can't, I don't understand why. I'm like, is it because it's cold? Like, and I've tried other ones when I haven't been home, and it's like, no, it's just for some reason that stone like seriously chills out your like stomach. I don't know why.
Well, and the more you work with one stone repetitively, like since it's that specific piece of peach selenite that you have and you're working with it, like you two are becoming like more in tune with each
cool.
other each time, you know?
That's cute.
And that's, I mean, that's the rad thing with crystals. It's like, you
Yeah.
can, like, I can send Reiki into a quartz and give it to somebody, and it's programmed for that person to be receiving Reiki and support when they need it.
Yeah.
And like, I've seen like weird tests that are basically like somebody not having a stone in their hand and having their arm pushed down
Yeah.
by someone else, and then having the stone in their hand and it's much harder to push the arm down.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It
Yeah.
might
No,
it
you
may
don't
be a
have
fucking
to.
psychological trick. And
Yeah.
like, one of my best friends is like left the Mormon church and is super skeptical and loves to like be like, I don't know how I think about this idea that you have. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about it. And
Yeah.
he's always like, hey, dude, I want you to know, like, I'm not being disrespectful to like your ideas. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why we're friends. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to talk to you about this.
Yeah. No, I've just always wondered because especially, yeah, today I was like, oh, I'm asking a rock to pretend to be another rock. Like, what am I should know at the very least, like what I'm asking it to do. But but yeah, totally. I feel like now I kind of want to make my pink selenite like a little bed so it can sleep during the day and then we
That's
like can
awesome.
sleep together during the night. But it's almost, I guess, I thank you so much for coming and talking. I
Yeah,
feel
totally.
like just really feel really lucky to talk to you and really really lucky that you met up with Tommy. And I like the message that she gave to you that you sent to me was like, I just poured out tears. That was like, I mean, just such a cool moment of energy. And like, and yeah, the way she talked is so, it's just so hurt and so
Yeah.
silly and so like just like a little goofy gal. And like she yeah, and I just, you gave me a tip that like I can talk to her anytime and send her
Yeah.
love. And I've been, that has helped me a lot, but also I can tell that it helps her, and our communication is so much better
That's great.
because of you. And I'm so thankful. And it's just the coolest thing. Like when she, yeah, just when she was at the vet yesterday, I could tell when she was like, where am I? Why'd she take me here? And I would just be like, I love you. Like, remember,
Yeah.
it's just for your, like, this is for you. And it's going to be, it was like this, like, we're so connected now because of you. And I really couldn't be more grateful. So, can you
I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah, please tell everybody where that they can find you.
On Instagram at Bill-McRight, or no, Bill_McRight. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I put it.
Bill_McRight.
Okay.
I also have at All Creatures Energy Services and allcreaturesenergyservices.com. You can book sessions there, and I mean, you can contact me there too, or on Instagram. I don't really mess with much other social media. I don't really like all the technology all that much.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Connection's cool, but like I've had a lot of people be like, do I need to do a Zoom call, or are we gonna FaceTime? I'm like, no, I want you to just go set your phone down and not hold on to it while we're trying to do energy work, because it's gonna interfere. And I think that's like really important. Like I do think that the tools are important and useful, but I also think sometimes we rely on them a little bit too much.
For sure. And yeah, that's so cool. I think I did think that I had to bring her physical body to you, and it was such a relief that you just met her somewhere else, and so much cooler, like, because it would have been, it just, yeah, it's like when someone's traumatized, like that's not, they don't need to be like going to a stranger's house or having a stranger come in their house. So
and
I think that's good,
Yeah, that's what I like to recommend to people too.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason, like my cats are never happy when we get in the car to go to the vet.
Yeah. Why would you be? I mean, it sucks. Yeah. And it's also just like, Yeah, they're like children in the sense that they have so much, they're more sensitive, and you don't want to
Yeah.
just drop them off with somebody and have
Yeah,
that
no.
whole layer of like, what the fuck are you doing now,
Yeah.
mom?
Yeah. No, I
Um,
think if I was to do an in-person thing with a client and they're human or vice versa, I would actually want the human with the animal, because it would be easy for me to kind of guide some more communication between the
yeah.
two.
Well, I would love to do another session with you sometime when, because she's almost, I mean, it's been, I think, 3 months, and she's almost like completely back to her
That's awesome.
physical self. Her psychological self is a little bit off, but I think it'd be fun to see you get to talk to her when she's not on drugs.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Thanks.
is there anything else that you want to say to people or animals? Or aliens?
Just be nice to each other. It's a lot easier than being jerks.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All
Bye.
right. Later.